Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is André Gomyde. I'm from Brazil. I am president of the Brazilian Human Smart Cities Network. I will moderate this section. This session will be an elevator pitch format, and it will be about solutions for more inclusive and participative cities. In the end of the session, you will have the Q&A moment. You can make your questions by the Ask and Vote app. And we want to make sure we address your most burning questions and issues. Therefore, we'll be using a tool called Ask and Vote that allows you to submit your questions and upvote the ones you like the most. Throughout the event, you will also be able to express your opinion by rating a session in a poll we have enabled for you. Let's try one now. Please take your smartphones and connect to the Wi-Fi, Huawei Connect. Open the Smart City Expo World Congress app and click on the Ask and Vote option. If you don't have the app, open the web browser and go to smartcityexpo.com/ask and vote. Find your session on the list, and now you are ready to participate. And also you can make questions here in the phone. We will start the session with Dr. Teresa Ferrer-Mico from St. Peter's School.
Okay, good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Okay, so I'm here to speak about our curriculum and how we implemented the idea of smart cities within the curriculum at St. Peter's. Okay, let me introduce my team. This is my team at St. Peter's. As you can see, we are very energetic and enthusiastic. I'm the one with the iPad, by the way. So this is how we meet and we decide all our new experiences at the school. And let me start with what do we want to accomplish, introducing the idea of a smart city in our curriculum. I'm sorry, Okay, at the beginning we had three main ideas, three main objectives. We wanted our students to have this idea of citizenship awareness and be able to understand the urban societies, how they are changing, what are the issues we are facing, and how can we use technology and our knowledge to solve these issues by active learning experiences for them. This is what we had been developing during this year. One very important idea we had is this concept of vocational orientation. We want our students, if they really want to become an engineer or a journalist, really do it because it's their vocation, it's what they really want to become, and not just because it's trending or it's because it's easy or what they are good at. So kind of guiding them through the future, really knowing and being able to choose smartly. Okay, my team again. So how did we do this? What's our pedagogical approach? We follow the idea of community of inquiry, and this is how our classes work. We give importance to the teaching presence as well as social and cognitive presence. We would like to support, that's what we try to do in our classes. We support our discussions, we monitor and regulate learning, we provide the topics for the discussions, and we set the climate learning. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this because we only have 3 minutes, so let me keep going. How do we plan our experiences? As I was telling you before, we start from the end. We start from the objectives. So we know what the results we want to reach. We know the results we want to reach, and then we kind of decide, okay, how are we going to learn? How are we going to assess that these students are really learning? What is the acceptable evidence that is going to tell us that they already gained this knowledge? So from the outcomes to the evidences, and then we plan the experience, we plan the activities, and we decide the topics and the teaching materials we are going to give them. This is just one experience I want to show you. This is how we introduce the idea of smart cities in our curriculum. Remember our 3 main objectives at the beginning. citizenship awareness, the students actively engage in the activity, and then guiding them to a vocational path for the future. So we divided the activities in in-school activities and outside school activities. As you can see, some of the students, they were working on creating a domotic house, domotic lining experience in a school, and then this one is related with the activity outside of the school. There is a visit at a university, in particular UPC University, where they will be able to sit, chat, visit the different labs related with energy efficiency, light efficiency, etc., to have an experience outside of the school. And we had been very lucky this year because we could take our students to this conference, so we have them already around here checking all the stands and trying to go to all the conferences for them to visit the Smart City Expo, exposing them to what's going on, what's in the field, what's current, what's actual, and see if they can make good choices or they can, kind of start learning or start discovering their own path for the future. Okay, so that was my main conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Teresa Ferrer-Mico. And now we will hear Mr. Faustino Cuadrado, Capitán, from Mass Factor Urban Accessible Mobility.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. We are going to talk about disability and mobility. And at the end of the day, we are going to talk about inclusion and quality of life. It's well known that transportation is key issue for being in, or having a life, a standard life, having access to the work, to having access a complete life. However, for people with disabilities, only 1% of them are able to get an accessible transportation. Currently, the solution for people with disabilities is to use the adapted transport, paratransit, which is a means funded by public administration. Paratransit is a means targeted for people with severe disabilities and letting out people with mild disabilities or what we call fragile people. Fragile people is not only people with disabilities, are older adults, are children, and are people with in risk of exclusion. Is paratransit a sustainable service? Paratransit is a very expensive service. In average, we are talking about $30, $40 per trip per user. This is really expensive, and therefore only can be used for people with severe disabilities. On the other hand, if we use paratransit for people having mild disabilities, we are excluding these people from the rest of the society. It's a controlled environment, it's a controlled trips, it's a controlled situation, and we are not letting them live as other people, as standard people. On the other hand, we are saying that because of the aging of the population, more and more people are demanding paratransit services or public transportation with accessible transportation. This is, in fact, there are two different forces, opposite forces in this equation. On one hand, we have people, because of the pyramid of the population pyramid is inverted, we are saying that there are people accessing or willing to access to these paratransit services or accessible services, but on the other hand, due to the high cost of the paratransit, the public administration is reducing every year the budget for this service. At that point, we find one big problem. We are having more people to use accessible services, and on the other hand, the budgets are being reduced because there are these problems with the economy. So we presented our solution. Our solution is Up and Down Companion. It's a system which makes possible through the technology to improve the life of citizens. It's a smart city concept solution. Up and Down Companion is based in comprises two different subsystems. On one hand, we have the mobile application, which guide the user with a very simple instructions and with a very precise instructions. And on the other hand, we have a control center where we are monitoring the user. Not only what is the user, not only the position of the user, but also level of battery, GPS accuracy, data network coverage, is this on the route or is out of the route. We have different roles in the system, and it can be used for people with disabilities, intellectual, physical, visual disabilities, or it can be used for older adults and children. This is our company, our mass factory. We got some awards, Apps for BCM. We are from Barcelona, Caterva Awards, Compass Awards, Vodafone Foundation Awards, and an engineer awards from Growstick. We are providing the services in Canada, in the United States, in UK, and in France. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Faustino. No, you can sit here. Thank you. Now we will hear Mr. Dr. Michael Gold from Universitat Jaume I.
Hey, very good.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, close. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. Like many people here at the meeting, I wear several hats. One of my hats is that I'm a professor at this university, Jaume I, which is located 2 hours south of here in Castellón. And our research group is called Geotech. So we work on geographical technologies, GIS, computer mapping, satellite imagery, mobile systems. And we have a doctoral program called Enabling Open Cities, which is being funded by Marie Curie. My other hat is that I work for Esri, which is the major geographic information systems supplier, vendor, to cities around the world. So many of the cities, your cities, are utilizing Esri technology. So let me see if I can connect the two dots here, the GIS to our project, which is about creating mobile apps to encourage people to live in a more green lifestyle. This is a screenshot that I took yesterday from a presentation by the Área Metropolitana de Barcelona, just to indicate the fact that traditional geographic information systems users are now migrating their data from the back room that only the engineers are looking at, and they're migrating towards applications, apps, for their own people, or in the case of the city of Los Angeles, they're publishing their backroom GIS data for consumption by citizens, utilizing apps that are focused on things citizens really care about. They don't care about GIS, they care about, are my streets clean, or where are there civic construction projects going on, or which streets are being paved, or where can I walk in Los Angeles, because I'm told that you can't walk in Los Angeles. So the city's showing them, yes, of course you can, and so is publishing those applications. We thought we'd like to focus at our university on applications to encourage people to bike more often, commuting to work or to school. Of course, there are many bike applications already available. However, most of them are aimed at sportsmen. They're not aimed at people who are commuting in the city. So we decided we'd like to create an Android application that encouraged people to bike within the city. So one of our graduate students, Diego Pajarito, if you're a Spanish speaker, you will not forget the name Pajarito. So Diego Pajarito, one of our students, is creating this app on the Android platform. And you can see that the platform allows you to run campaigns, multi-day campaigns, where you're competing against other bikers, or you can just utilize the application on your own. It tells you how far you've been. It tells you how fast you're going, so we can distinguish between walkers and bikers and people who are cheating and taking the bus or the car. And we can give you certain credit for biking. You can set your profile regarding your age and your gender and your type of biking profile. So the idea is that you can track your commute back and forth to work or to school, but also, again, as I mentioned, you can take part in campaigns. It could be that the city would like to have a bike week or a get fit week or any kind of a green initiative. And so we've added a gamification framework. Gamification, of course, encourages people to utilize your application and to stick with it, to not abandon it. And so we've got a series of rewards and feedback. You can compare your performance to other people in the city, to other teams. And then there's a mechanism for sharing the idea and for spreading the use of these biking apps to other people. So I mentioned there's this gamification framework, and the resulting game and the framework is part of what we're calling the Open City Toolkit, which is one of the deliverables for the Marie Curie doctoral program. So what happens is that we're able to look at the performance of ourselves or other bikers on this, within the city. We're utilizing the city's base maps, the GIS data, the base cartography which they already possess. And we're able to show the GPS tracks, cycling infrastructure, points of interest, and we're able to show where people are biking when. So there's a spatial and a temporal aspect to this. And what's important is that the GIS allows spatial analysis. So we're not just looking at points on the map, we can analyze when people are doing certain things. If they're not using the bike paths, why is that? And we can provide information to the city. So this type of a gamification enabled application gets people using the application for their own purposes, but of course it's also creating an enormous collection of data which we can provide to the city regarding what bikers are doing or not doing, and they can make decisions regarding whether they need to fix their infrastructure, provide more infrastructure, etc. So if you'd like more information, please contact me, and those are my minutes. Thank you.
You can sit there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. And now we will hear Mr. Dr. Zvi Feinstein from Israel Smart Cities Institute.
Just a minute. Okay. Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here. It is my fifth year to be with the FIRA conference and to give some presentation. So if you want to know who am I, you can read. I thought about this new, let's say, innovation, smart cities from A to Z, because I belong to the X generation. I know that there are Y and Z generation, which are very smart and quick people. And my program is attending to give more information to those, let's say, elderly people or poor people that don't have much access to internet, but if they have, they can follow the new innovations and so on. No, oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is the initiative. It is a very challenging one, and I need more people to do this challenge together. Okay. I guess you know and recognize this part of vocabulary that belongs to the smart city, whether it is society, sustainability, mobility, data, governance, economy, and so on. But do you know what this means? What are these pictures? And what are the abbreviation or explanation of these new words? I guess only those of you that read the Time magazine and came through this article may understand what it is. Okay. What I mean and want to do. I want to create a common language and meaning for global humanity facing and coping with the worldwide smart city phenomenon connected among elements of citizens and their quality in life in rapid urbanized world and high technological developments. There are many new terms that are born, I think, every minute many everydays, and sometimes when I read an article or looking for something in the internet, I mean, I have to say to myself, go back to school and learn. The most significant reason why it is needed, the first one is a large portion of global population still belongs to the X generation, as me. 70% of the world population live in urban areas, and they need to update and come together with all this social innovation and other technological aspect. Elderly and disadvantaged populations are disconnected from technology means, and newborn awakened markets, mainly in so-called global thought regions, are 30 to learn about the new things, and we must humanize technology. The challenge that contributed to this program or idea inspired is to making the impact and consequences of technology clearer and more understandable, to build knowledge-based toolkit, prevent ignorance and illiteracy, unify language structures across all smart cities domains, to close the gap between human beings and technology. Commons become the owners of technology to enable use of qualitative and quantitative measurable smart cities indicators and enable access, open data, equity and equal opportunities to every citizen. I am applying to the people that sit here or to others that may look at this presentation to come and make a big partnership. My idea is to invent like a Wikipedia for smart cities terms, so that everybody will understand the language, which becomes a new language all over the world. And I ask people from different domain, whether they high-tech, academic, those people who apply for Horizon 2020, the European Commission. I myself participate in 3 of these EU cost commissions dealing with smart cities, and each of you that has any aspect of domain to contribute, but do it myself, it is impossible, and I need more people to cooperate and collaborate with me. Thank you very much. Here's my email, and I expect people to contact me and run this I think very important tool. Thank you.
No, you can take seat here. You sit here, please. Thank you, Mr. Feinstein. And now we will hear Ms. Linda Chandler from Microsoft.
Thank you, Andrea. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk to you about the what, the how, and the why of a collaborative research and development program that we call Cities Unlocked. So imagine you're carrying out a complex journey across an urban landscape. And sometimes that can be in a city that you know, and sometimes it might be in a city that's new to you. If you imagine that experience can be exhilarating, or it can be frustrating or nerve-wracking. And now imagine that same journey if you were blind or partially sighted, and how nerve-wracking an experience that might be. If you're visually impaired, actually sound is really important in how you find your place in the urban landscape. So you might be passing a fountain that you hear to your right, or you might hear an escalator behind you. And you position yourself in that space according to the sound. The innovation that we've developed with Cities Unlocked is a 3D soundscape, how to hear sounds through a headset a wearable device as if they're coming from outside your head. So if there's a coffee shop positioned over here, you'll hear it announced from the right-hand side. So how do we realize cities unlocked? If I make a journey to visit a friend in the city, if I focus on that simple experience, I come out of my house, I walk to a bus stop, I get on a bus, I alight at the train station, buy a ticket and take a train into the city. It's a commonplace experience and one that we've all been through. But when you examine the number of different organizations that own the urban realm or their service providers involved in that journey, it can be very complex. So we focus on the experience. We focus on the experience of making that very seamless and a journey that can be very frictionless for the user. It relies on a lot of partnerships and collaboration. No one organization can enable that experience. And our vision is to create a platform where we're unlocking cities all over the world and we're creating those great experiences using 3D sound. And why cities unlocked? We've heard consistently over this conference that smart cities must leave no one behind in terms of social or economic terms. Everybody must participate in the city, and that's really important. We believe if we design for the 1%, then actually we're designing for everyone. So although we've focused on the visually impaired use case in Cities Unlocked, it's very easy to see that this can be extended into a retail scenario or a tourist scenario. And thereby we can create this platform that creates value for our citizens, but also creates business value for the organizations and the partners involved. And by creating that business value and the business model, that's how we get a sustainable platform. And so we invite you to the Smart City Plaza to hear and experience Cities Unlocked. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Linda. And now we will hear Mr. Shai from Our City Love Social Enterprise.
Hello, everybody. I am Shai from Taiwan. Our City Love Social Enterprise, our mission is to use the ICT technology to help the city more friendly. Because our city not only smart, we must be friendly. We use the ICT to help the blind people. There are 1 billion visual impaired people in the world, and just less 2% they can understand the Braille well. So 90% become blind. Maybe they are sickness or accident or getting old, or like us to read too much smartphone or tablet. When you go to the Chinese restaurant, you can see a lot of menu and the meal on the list. But if you want to put a Braille into the menu, it's more difficult and complicated. So we can see this. Can you help me to play this video?
要入座别慌，我来带你。要点菜别怕，手机帮你。
Okay, we use technology to help them to find the seat and use the mobile phone to read the menu of the meal and guide them to the toilet. So it is easy to let the blind people can use the technology to be in a friendly restaurant. So we use a smartphone to read the meal. Let the blind people also enjoy the menu. And this is a hierarchy construction. We use the existing technology, for example, the beacon, the crowd, and the people to help this occur. We hire the handicapped people to use the template to go to the restaurant to investigate the restaurant, how friendly they are. And the second, we verify this information and use the APP to help this total solution. So we not only use the technology, we also do the service design. The Movenpick restaurant in Taipei, they not only to be a friendly restaurant, also they modify their restaurant to be a friendly, and their sales go up to 30%. Why Taiwan can do this? Because Taiwan made a lot of hardware. Your notebook template generally is made by Taiwan. And we have a good network environment, can be a field trial area. So if you want to know more about the smart city solution, in next year, February, welcome to Taipei. We have 100 smart city solution will demonstrate to you. And we also have another, if you are IT man, welcome to the WCIT, World Congress IT, next February. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shai. You can sit there. You can sit there, please. Thank you, Mr. Shai. And now we will hear Ms. Miriam Alarcon from Rebobinarte.
Hello, everyone. Let's talk about graffiti. Graffiti was born in New York City in the late 70s as an illegal practice that soon, oops, can you hear me? Okay. That spread very quickly. Soon, it became a problem that needed to be addressed. Graffiti has evolved very much over the last decades, and now many artistic interventions are not illegal anymore. However, illegal graffiti has not disappeared, and let's be honest, it will never do. So the question here is, do we see graffiti as a problem, or do we see it as an opportunity? Let's take a look at the case of Barcelona. In 2005, a law was passed banning graffiti and street art of any sort. There was no space in the city where artists could go and paint legally. This law intended to solve the problem of illegal graffiti, but surprisingly enough, the outcome proved that banning is far away from being the solution. Public space was full with tags, and the city of Barcelona spent as much money on graffiti removal as before this law was passed. So in 2013, we went to the city council and we asked them if we could make a pilot test. They would give us some walls and we would use them and manage them for artistic interventions. That's how the website Murs Lliures, Free Walls, literally translated, was born. Artists had to register on the website. They selected the date and the wall, and the system automatically provided them with a permit to paint. Once their work was finished, they could upload the image so that other artists or other users and visitors could see it. This way, the platform also worked as a virtual gallery of all the works created. A key factor of this system is that it showed us data of usability, frequency of use, gender and nationality of users, etc. This data is incredibly useful when it comes to detect the general patterns that lie beneath urban art. For example, we learned that only 4% of users are women, and now we're working on several projects in order to make this number grow. Also, thanks to this system, the city of Barcelona is saving €500,000 on graffiti removal every year. So since the system has proven to be highly successful and useful here in Barcelona, we wanted to make it grow and turn it into an international project. That's how Wallspot was born in October 2016. With a brand new design, new international reach, new users, and new features, Wallspot is conceived as a cultural network that links artists, photographers, urban art lovers, and citizens from all over the world. Wallspot is now present in 4 countries like Switzerland, Sweden, Spain, and Philippines, and 7 cities. New countries and new cities will be added very soon, and actually we are opening 4 new spots here in Barcelona over the next weeks. Wallspot is conceived as an inclusive system that brings together citizens, art managers, photographers, and urban art lovers from all over the world. So, answering the question that I posed before, we believe that graffiti, when managed, is no longer a problem, but a great way to boost civic engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miriam. Okay, we had no questions in the app, and I want to see if anybody want to make question here in the microphone. Nope. Okay, so I will, I will make a question for you. In general, and you can answer each one, starting with with Dr. Teresa. As we saw here, and I think that this Congress brings us the importance of that we can see. We need to see beyond technology. We need to see technology used by for the people and for citizens, and that citizens can co-create with governments solutions for our cities. So I want that you talk 2 minutes about how can we put citizens connected with governments, and how citizens can help governments co-creating with governments in become for the governments become more trustworthy, and we can have cities more less technological and more humanity. With okay, you understand?
Yes.
So
yeah. Is this okay? So, from my perspective, being a teacher, I guess we see the society from bottom up, right? So our main goal is to make sure that the students, they see what's going on in the field, and they see technology, even if they are not studying technology, they are more into the social or more into the social sciences field. Our main goal is for them to see that we can use it to our advantage, and that we are already doing it, right? So in Spain, there is a curriculum we need to follow at the schools, and it comes mandatory from the government, but we can adapt it. And our main goal, I guess, will be like, if we teachers that we are with the students and we know kind of what they are interested in, what's important for their future, we kind of present, hey, these are good projects, STEM-related projects, projects related with smart cities that we're introducing in our curriculum. Why don't these become, general for everybody? Because now I explain our particular view from my particular school. We are very flexible, very open. I was telling you about my team. We are very energetic, and we like these challenges. But it's just like a little spot in Barcelona. So why not? We have these projects, we have these experiences for the students. How can we introduce them to other schools, other environments, and make it general for everybody, no? Because it seems that some of the other students, some of the other schools, they might be missing out not participating in this, in what's going on in the real field. I don't know, that's maybe from, from the school perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Faustino.
Well, I think technology is the tool or the mechanism to reach the target. 25 years ago, there was no mobile phones. We cannot, well, there are young people in this room, but when you need to phone someone, you phone your fixed line, and it was the family phone number, and you have to ask for the people you would like to speak. Nowadays we have mobile phones. Each of us has 1 or 2 or 3 mobile phones in the pockets. And this technology has to be used for having a more participative city. I mean, I think that to have a more human society or more human cities, you need to listen to the citizens. And the way that you communicate with the citizens is through the technology. So we don't have to think in technology as the target, but as a mechanism, as a tool to reach the target. That the target is to participate, to have a more participative city, and to use this information for all citizens.
In my presentation, I mentioned the word to humanize technology. It is very nice that you are walking in your street with the lights that give you possibility to look or parking or transportation, but you need to take care of your own citizens. I think citizens has a lot of knowledge, and somebody has to ask what can we do or use this knowledge for the whole communities, whether it is on a neighborhood level or the whole city. I have a very long experience with citizen participation. I used to be a national coordinator of a project called Project Renewal for Disadvantaged Neighborhoods in Israel. And the first principle was citizen participation. And we learned a lot from bottom up and not top down. Politicians needed to change their mind and make a switch, and to put in their vision the topic of citizen participation. In this conference there was the mayor of Tel Aviv. When he was first selected, he asked me to write the, let's say, the citizen independence scroll. And I put there a list of different items and means to citizen participation. And now in this city and other cities, there are a lot of citizen group, civil society, what we call, and even the government and the parliament are listening to these groups. I think as the mantra of this year, Fear Barcelona, city for citizens and citizens for cities, it has to be practical, not just declaration and statement. Because if it remains on a political level, then nothing will happen. I mean, technology will run very fast, but people will not have a chance to use it for their even daily life. For instance, I think it was last year I was here, somebody from Barcelona shows a tablet especially for elderly people. In the tablets there were different squares like police, clinic, members of family and other items. And if you need something, you just put your finger and immediately somebody calls you and asks, what do you want? How we can help you? I think the upper level have to go down to the lower level and learn these daily life conditions. We are talking about a lot of excluded population, inequality, even inside the cities I'm not speaking about big countries over the world, and something has to be changed. I myself know a little bit about technology, but my purpose is just to help and push people. I have, for instance, personal initiatives in Israel. I'm collecting used but good computers and give it to family with children that don't have these computers in their home, just to limit what we call the digital gap. And every day I received calls from banks, insurance company, private organization, private people. They are willing to share my idea and help people who don't have this kind of basic technology. We also have special classes for parents and elderly people to come and learn how to use internet, how to use other things in with the computer.
So your conclusion, please, because our time is...
Don't worry, we will stay here another hour. And I apply to the people here, the crowd. I mean, maybe you have to wake up and just, push yourself, do something for the society, and not just to invent a new technology and sell it like IBM, Cisco, Microsoft, or other companies. The people are the consumers. You have to help them.
Thank you.
I think the way to kind of redress the balance between technology and people is to really focus on the human experience. And actually, even though I'm from Microsoft, I think the best experiences are actually when you make the technology disappear, you make it part of everyday life. And all too often, I think, in a smart city, we think that the problem's been solved because we've created the app for buses or the app for trains. We think that data's available. But actually, we're not thinking about the intent of the user. The intent of the user isn't to find and download an app. The intent of a user is to have a smooth, safe journey. So how do we make that as easy as possible? How do we serve up the information at the point that it's needed? So I think by focusing on that experience and how we bring together data and experiences across a number of other providers, I think that's the focus for the future.
Okay. Technology just a technology, but implementation is more important. Implementation is important, so repeat 3 times. I think we help the handicapped people to do their new job, to service the general people in our design service. This mechanism can help the handicapped people have a new job. They can help the general people to be a friendly city. And I think the good solution must explore in the world. So our mechanism has explored to the Malaysia, to the Hong Kong. So if you go to Malaysia or go to the Hong Kong, you also can download friend restaurant in Hong Kong, friend restaurant in Malaysia. So welcome to Taiwan next February. You can download the friendly restaurant in Taipei. You can enjoy Chinese food, all of the Chinese food in Taipei. Thank you very much.
Okay. I think that in order for people to come closer to governments and the other way around, maybe we have to think about the problems, like local problems that we have in our city, in our neighborhood, or wherever. Maybe it's not about thinking so much global, but much more like local, and see what are the strategies that we could develop in order to propose those solutions. I think that thinking a little bit out of the box, it's a possible approach that would come that will be very productive and come with new ideas in order to you know, to make this new approach about of citizens through governments. And your turn.
I would just add that finding win-win solutions is necessary. And it's easier these days creating apps than it was creating huge systems years ago. And so the example of the graffiti is an excellent one. The artists are happy and the city saves money. Hopefully I was able to show that something similar with the bikes. People are encouraged to bike more, which is good for their health. It's good to get cars off the road, and also we can give the data to the city and they can start asking questions about where people are biking or not biking. So any win-win situation is bound to work.
Great, great. Thank you very much. You saw here some important projects and practices that you can develop in your own cities, such as presented by the speakers. We will appreciate if you can go back home and think about the way to discuss in your communities the strategies to develop your cities in this century, bringing all the people to be included through technology, but especially in discussing with your governments in the way to become a more inclusive and participative city. Thank you all. We have no more time, and I expect to see you again next year. Okay? Thank you very much.